In the quiet of a moonlit night, I found myself standing in the pouring rain, clutching a crumpled letter that had just shattered my world. The ink was smeared, but the words were crystal clear. I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. It was from Emma, the love of my life, the person who had made every color brighter and every song sweeter. We had been together for 5 years, weathering storms that seemed insurmountable, but this was a hurricane I never saw coming. The rain pelted down, mixing with the tears streaming down my face. Couldn't believe it. Just last night, we had kissed under the stars, our hearts beating in sync, our souls intertwined. It was one of those moments that made you believe in forever. I could still feel the warmth of her lips, the softness of her touch, and the promise in her eyes. How could that same person write these words? How could our love, which felt so eternal, crumble so suddenly? As I stood there, drenched and devastated, a car pulled up beside me. The window rolled down, revealing my best friend, Alex. "Get in," he said, his voice laced with concern. I hesitated for a moment, then climbed into the passenger seat, the letter still clutched in my hand. Alex didn't say a word. He just drove, giving me the space to process the whirlwind of emotions tearing through me. We ended up at our favorite late-night diner, the one where Emma and I had our first date. The memories flooded back, each one a stab to the heart. Alex ordered us coffees, and as we sat there, the silence between us heavy with unspoken words, I finally looked at him. "I don't understand," I whispered, my voice breaking. "We were supposed to be forever." Alex reached across the table, his hand covering mine. "Sometimes, forever isn't as straightforward as we think," he said softly. There was a depth in his eyes, a knowing look that made me pause. He took a deep breath, then continued, "There's something I need to tell you, something I should have told you a long time ago." His words hung in the air, a prelude to a revelation that would change everything. As Alex began to speak, the diner around us seemed to fade away, leaving just the two of us suspended in a bubble of truth that was about to shatter my world for the second time that night. "Remember when Emma first introduced us?" he asked, his voice steady but his eyes betraying a nervousness I hadn't seen before. I nodded, recalling the day vividly. Emma had brought him to our apartment, her arms linked with his, laughing about some inside joke. I had felt an instant connection with Alex, his warmth and charm drawing me in. We had been inseparable ever since, the three of us a tight-knit unit that felt unbreakable. "That day," Alex continued, "I saw something in you that I hadn't expected. You were so full of life, so passionate and real. I found myself drawn to you in a way I hadn't anticipated." His fingers tightened around mine, his grip firm and reassuring. "I fell in love with you too that day, and every day since, I've been trying to find the courage to tell you." His words hit me like a tidal wave, sweeping away the ground beneath me. I stared at him, shock coursing through my veins. Alex, my best friend, the person who had been my rock through every storm, was in love with me? How had I never seen it? How had I been so blind to the emotions swirling beneath the surface of our friendship? But as I looked into his eyes, I saw the sincerity, the raw vulnerability, and the love that had always been there, hidden in plain sight. I thought back to all the moments we had shared, the late-night conversations, the laughter, the comforting silences. Alex had been there through every high and low, his presence a constant source of strength and support. He had seen me at my best and worst, and he had loved me through it all. A whirlwind of emotions churned within me, confusion, surprise, and a strange sense of clarity all battled for dominance. I thought about Emma, about the love we had shared, and the pain of her letter. And then I thought about Alex, about the love he had confessed, and the realization that maybe, just maybe, our love story wasn't over, it was just taking an unexpected turn. As I sat there, my heart pounding in my chest, I knew I had a choice to make. I could cling to the past, to the love that had slipped through my fingers, or I could embrace the future, the love that was right in front of me, waiting to be explored. The night we kissed, I knew our love was forever, but maybe forever didn't look the way I had imagined. Maybe it was something even more beautiful, more complex, and more profound than I could have ever dreamed. As I grappled with Alex's confession, the diner seemed to spin around me, the clatter of dishes and hum of conversation fading into a distant buzz. I looked at him, really looked at him, seeing the depth of emotion in his eyes. It was like a veil had been lifted, revealing a world of possibilities I had never considered. Alex, with his kind heart and unwavering support, had been my anchor through every storm. Could he also be the calm after the storm, the love that would heal my broken heart? Just as I was about to respond, my phone buzzed on the table, Emma's name flashing across the screen. My heart leapt into my throat as I stared at the notification, a mix of hope and dread washing over me. Alex's eyes followed mine, and he gave my hand a reassuring squeeze. "You should answer it," he said softly, his voice steady despite the turmoil I knew he must be feeling. With trembling hands, I picked up the phone and stepped outside the diner, the cool night air a stark contrast to the warmth inside. "Emma," I whispered, my voice barely audible. There was a pause, then a soft sigh. "I'm sorry, I shouldn't have left like that," she said, her voice trembling. I panicked. I thought I was doing the right thing. "But I miss you. I miss us." Her words sent a wave of relief crashing over me, followed by a surge of confusion. I thought about Alex, about the love he had confessed, and the future we could have together. And then I thought about Emma, about the love we had shared, and the pain of her letter. How could I choose between the two people who meant the world to me? As I stood there, torn between two loves, a car pulled up to the diner, its headlights illuminating the rain-soaked pavement. The door swung open, and out stepped a figure I hadn't seen in years. Lila, my first love, the one who had broken my heart and set me on the path that led me to Emma and Alex. Lila's eyes met mine, and a smile spread across her face, as if no time had passed, as if the years of heartache and healing had never happened. "I heard you were back in town," she said, her voice as smooth and sultry as I remembered. "I had to see you." My mind reeled, the night taking yet another unexpected turn. Lila, the ghost of my past, stood before me, her presence stirring up a whirlwind of memories and emotions. I thought about the night we had kissed, the night I had believed our love was forever. But forever had slipped through my fingers then, just as it had with Emma. Could I trust it now with Alex or even with Lila? As I stood there, caught in the crossroads of my past, present, and future, I knew I had to make a choice. But how could I choose when each path led to a love that felt so real, so profound, and so forever? The rain began to fall again, the drops cool against my skin, grounding me in the moment. I took a deep breath, knowing that whatever choice I made, it would change the course of my life forever. The night we kissed, I knew our love was forever. But maybe forever wasn't about one love, one person. Maybe it was about the journey, the lessons learned, and the loves that shaped us along the way. I turned back to the diner, where Alex waited, his love a beacon of hope and possibility. And then I looked at Lila, her presence a reminder of the love that had started it all. And finally, I thought of Emma, her voice still echoing in my mind, her love a thread that had woven through the fabric of my life. The night was far from over, and the journey ahead was uncertain. But as I stood there, surrounded by the loves of my life, I knew that whatever path I chose, it would lead me to a love that was forever. The rain continued to fall, washing away the past and clearing the way for the future. And with each drop, I felt a sense of clarity, a knowing that whatever came next, it would be a love story worth telling. As I took a step forward, ready to face the night and the choices that lay ahead, I knew that this was just the beginning. The night we kissed, I knew our love was forever, and forever was waiting just around the corner. As I took a deep breath and stepped back into the diner, the warmth enveloped me, a stark contrast to the cool rain outside. Alex looked up, his eyes filled with a mix of hope and apprehension. I slid back into the booth, my mind racing with the weight of the decisions before me. Lila's unexpected appearance had thrown me for a loop, but it also brought a strange sense of closure to a chapter of my life that had long been left unfinished. Who was that? Alex asked, his voice gentle but laced with curiosity. I hesitated for a moment, then decided to be honest. It was Lila, I said, watching his expression carefully. My first love. She's back in town. Alex's eyes widened in surprise, but he quickly composed himself. And how do you feel about that? He asked, his voice steady despite the emotional turmoil I knew he must be feeling. I took a moment to gather my thoughts, the memories of Lila flooding back. It's complicated, I admitted. Seeing her brought back a lot of memories, both good and bad, but it also made me realize something important. Alex leaned in, his eyes locked on mine. What's that? I took a deep breath, the words forming in my mind as I spoke them aloud. It made me realize that love isn't just about the past or the future. It's about the present, about the choices we make and the people we choose to be with. Lila was a part of my past, and she'll always hold a special place in my heart. But she's not my future. A flicker of hope sparked in Alex's eyes, but he remained silent, giving me the space to continue. And Emma, I said, my voice catching slightly. Emma was my world for so long. Our love felt like forever, and in many ways it still does. But sometimes, forever takes unexpected turns. I reached across the table, taking Alex's hand in mine. You've been there for me through everything, Alex. You've seen me at my best and my worst, and you've loved me through it all. You've been my rock, my confidant, my best friend. And now you're offering me something more, something I never saw coming but something that feels so right. Alex's grip tightened around my hand, his eyes filled with emotion. I've always loved you, he said softly, and I always will, no matter what you choose. His words sent a wave of warmth through me, a sense of belonging and security that I hadn't felt in a long time. I thought about the night we kissed, about the promise of forever that had seemed so certain. And I realized that forever wasn't about one moment, one kiss, or one person. It was about the journey, the growth, and the love that evolved along the way. Just as I was about to speak, the diner door swung open, and in walked Emma. Her eyes met mine, and a mix of relief and uncertainty washed over her face. She hesitated for a moment, then made her way to our table, her steps tentative but determined. Emma? I whispered, my heart aching with a mix of love and confusion. She slid into the booth next to me, her eyes darting between Alex and me. I'm sorry, she said, her voice trembling. I'm sorry for the letter, for the pain I caused. I thought I was doing the right thing, but I realize now that I was just scared. Scared of losing you. Scared of the future. Scared of the love that felt so big and so overwhelming. I looked at her, seeing the vulnerability and the love in her eyes. And in that moment, I knew what I had to do. I knew the choice I had to make, the path that would lead me to a love that was forever. I turned to Alex, his hand still in mine, his eyes filled with a love that was pure and unwavering. And then I turned to Emma, her eyes filled with a love that was deep and enduring. And I knew that my heart was big enough to hold them both, to love them both, in a way that was true and authentic to me. I love you both, I said, my voice steady and sure. And I want to be with you both if you'll have me. The words hung in the air, a declaration of love and a proposal for a future that was unconventional but felt so right. I looked at Alex, his eyes filled with surprise and joy, and then I looked at Emma, her eyes filled with tears and hope. And in that moment, I knew that our love story was far from over. It was just beginning, a journey of love, growth, and forever that was waiting to be explored. The night we kissed, I knew our love was forever, and forever was here, in the love that surrounded me, in the choices I had made, and in the future that lay ahead. As the weight of my words settled over us, the diner seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the world to start spinning again. Emma's eyes widened in surprise, her tears spilling over as she reached out to take my other hand. Alex's grip tightened, his smile spreading slowly, like the sun rising after a long, dark night. You mean that? Emma whispered, her voice barely audible. I nodded, my heart swelling with a love so profound it felt like it could encompass the entire universe. Alex let out a soft laugh, a sound of disbelief and joy. "You never do things the easy way, do you?" he said, his eyes shining with unshed tears. I laughed too, the sound bubbling up from a place of pure happiness. "Where's the fun in easy?" I replied, squeezing both their hands. In that moment, the three of us sat there, our hands entwined, our hearts interconnected, and our futures woven together in a tapestry of love and possibility. The path ahead wouldn't be straightforward. I knew that. There would be challenges, questions, and moments of doubt. But as long as we faced them together, with open hearts and unwavering support, I knew we could overcome anything. Just then, the waitress approached our table, her eyes taking in our clasped hands and tear-streaked faces. She smiled softly, a knowing look in her eyes. "Can I get you folks anything else?" she asked, her voice gentle. We looked at each other, laughter bubbling up as we shook our heads. "No, thank you," I said, my voice filled with a joy that was impossible to contain. "We have everything we need." As we left the diner that night, stepping out into the cool, rain-kissed air, I felt a sense of peace and certainty wash over me. The night we kissed, I knew our love was forever, and forever was no longer a distant dream or a fleeting promise. It was here, in the love that surrounded me, in the people who walked beside me, and in the journey that lay ahead. The three of us walked together, our steps synchronized, our hearts beating in rhythm. The future was uncertain, but it was ours to shape, to explore, and to cherish. And as we stepped forward, ready to face whatever came next, I knew that our love story was far from over. It was just beginning, a beautiful, complex, and extraordinary journey of love, growth, and forever. And so, as we embark on this new chapter of our lives, we invite you to join us, to witness our journey, and to share in our love story. Subscribe to our channel to follow our path, to watch our videos, and to be a part of our adventure. Tell us your favorite parts, share your thoughts, and join the conversation. Because love, in all its forms, is a journey worth sharing. Until next time, remember that love is never straightforward, never easy, but always worth fighting for. And forever is what you make it, who you choose, and how you love. Our forever is just beginning, and we can't wait to share it with you. So stay tuned, dear friends. The best is yet to come. And as for the night we kissed, it was just the start of a love story that would span a lifetime, a love story that would redefine forever. And we couldn't be more excited to live it, to share it, and to embrace every moment along the way. Thank you for being a part of our journey. Here's to love, to forever, and to the incredible adventure that awaits. Until next time.